Kathy, Dex, and Grandma. C for Freedom. What's up, y'all? Thank you for joining me. We're crossing over to the current protest that's going on today for the transgender, and I was hearing them from the car, and they're advocating for the transformation of youth. Little Rock had a tornado. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Hey, Third. So I wanted to come over and just see what it's all about. They canceled the march for the trans for guns, I guess it was. I've forgotten what the name was. Oh my gosh, let me ask him. Hey, what was the name of the march today that was canceled? I want to get the name of it exactly. It was like the transfer guns or something.
I don't know anything about a canceled march today.
No? Okay.
No, this is where you assemble. This happened. Like, yeah, this going on. So
right. Okay, there was one planned, but because of the shooting, they were getting a lot of threats, so they canceled it. So I'll see if somebody else knows, and if I see, I'll tell you. Okay. I thought it was good on their part that they canceled.
Until colonialism and white supremacy have no
They were getting a lot of threats.
We need more cis people to speak up and fight alongside us while we are still here to fight. We will continue to...
Oh, it's for tomorrow. Thank you, Penny. Thought it was for today. Yeah, I think that was a good idea that they canceled.
Violence that threatens our very lives. For us to live,
I don't like to see violence for anybody.
White supremacy and colonialism must be attacked at all sides, and we must remember that resistance can come from anywhere. Thank you for your time. Miigwech.
Next to speak is singer-songwriter and transgender activist Ryan Casada. He's been at the forefront of the transgender liberation movement.
Well, I think we can agree the government has blood on his hands.
To educate people on the importance of diversity and equality. He's the first
that's an artistic statement for sure.
Memorial Award. He has been recognized by the United States Congress and has raised visibility through many televised appearances on notable news channels such as CNN, The Larry King Live Show, and The Tyra Banks Show. Ryan is recognized as the first openly trans performer at the Vans Warped Tour. Billboard has referred to Ryan as a true force in the industry, honoring him as one of the esteemed 11 transgender and non-binary musicians you need to know.
I had to get your sign. It's a good sign.
Garnering over 2 million views on YouTube and 2 million streams on Spotify. Here's Ryan.
Community! Trans people, let me hear you!
Is that the one for tomorrow?
I said
Is that the one for
people,
tomorrow that got canceled? That's this one now?
Queer people, let me hear you! Allies, let me hear you! We're so grateful you are here! My name is Ryan Casada. I use he, him pronouns. And in the words of my hero, Harvey Milk, I am here to recruit you. I'm 29 years old now, and I came out as a young trans person. I knew I was trans when I was a kid, And when I finally found the words for my experience, I came out. I knew that coming out would help set me free. I needed to be me in order to survive. I was a trans youth, the only trans youth that I knew at the time. I was isolated, but I began my mission of educating anyone who would listen, going into schools, appearing on talk shows, talking to parents, faculty, and other students. At 15 years old, I was on the Larry King Live show to talk about being trans. At 17, Tyra Banks. And I reached many trans people and went from feeling alone to knowing that my community was all around me. And I witnessed more and more people coming out, the community growing, becoming more resilient. We have become more visible than ever. That is one reason for the hateful pushback that we are experiencing right now. It is a sign of the revolution. We have become so visible that they can no longer ignore us. So visible that they want to silence us. So visible that they want to erase us. And let me tell you now, we will not be erased. Queer and trans people have always existed, and we will always exist. These laws may temporarily set us back, but they will never erase us. This year alone, over 435, that is 435 anti-LGBTQ bills have been introduced. 21 have passed into law, and more will unfortunately pass into law. And most of these bills target our queer and trans youth. They take away basic rights, like being able to read certain books, the ability to come out in school, to play sports with the other kids, using bathrooms, and the most evil, healthcare. Something that every single person in this country needs and deserves. It is a systemic evil to strip any person of care. It is genocide. They are attempting to ban trans surgeries, life-saving surgeries. Some states have already banned these essential surgeries, and let me tell you something, at 18 years old, as a teenager, I got my surgery. This is over a decade ago, and I waited long, suffering every single day, wearing a chest binder, unable to breathe deeply, unable to feel confidence, unable to experience happiness. Top surgery was an act of self-love. It stopped me from hurting myself. It stopped me from ending my life. It made me want to live again. And I'm still here because I was able to get my top surgery. And the only regret that I've had over the last decade is that I had to wait so long. Now these trans youth living in states that are banning healthcare, they will have to wait even longer. And waiting for a life-saving surgery is often impossible. These bills are violent. These bills are murderous. Healthcare is a human right. They cannot outlaw the transness and queerness out of us. They cannot bully the transness and queerness out of us. Even with the amount of violence that I've experienced just for being trans, I am still trans. I'm still proud to be trans. Nothing can erase my transness. Nothing can erase trans people. Nothing can take away our pride. I will not rest I'm fully committed to standing up for my community. I'm fully committed to giving all of my energy to this movement. I'm fully committed to staying visible. I need you to stay visible with me. We must rise up. We must come together. We must organize and rally and march and non-violently protest. We must continue to lift each other up. We must protect each other. We must advocate for our rights. We must remain visible. We have to. We cannot let fear push us back into hopeless closets. We must remain resilient.
Get that one more time.
I know that many of us are scared. I am scared too. But I know that no matter what evil legislation passes, trans people will always exist. We will not be erased. I know that it is terrifying right now, but I will not let intimidation and fear stop me from living as my true self. So we must remain visible.
Actually very
To the
peaceful.
queer and trans people
The energy is
in
very
red
peaceful.
states that are hanging on by a thread, waiting for equality, waiting for their hormones and their life-saving surgeries, waiting for their freedoms. For the trans youth in Florida, Arkansas, Tennessee, Utah, and Texas, and all over this country that are living in fear that they will be stripped away from their parents. For the LGBTQIA youth that cannot come out because their home lives will become more violent or they will be kicked out. For the LGBTQ youth that need to see the future in us so they know that they too have a chance, that there is something here for them indeed. So they know that this is their right, that this is their body, that this is their life. So they know that they are loved. You are so loved. And you deserve to be here. Because all over this country, there are queer and trans people living in fear for their lives, living in fear at school, at home, with absolutely no safe place. And they need to see us be resilient. They need to see us be brave. They need to see us be proud. They need to see us living. So they know that life is possible. So they know that one day they get to be a queer or trans adult.
That was probably me.
Please stay visible.
I was knocked
Stay
over.
proud of who you are. I am so very proud of you. I'm so very proud to be trans and queer, to have been a trans youth, and to get to be a trans adult. I'm so very proud to be part of this movement, and I will not stop rising up until our freedom has come. Stay true, stay you, continue to march. Trans people are not going anywhere.
How old are you? Do you mind telling me?
I'm 22.
22?
I would like to play you all a song if that's
About the
okay.
average age. Yeah. Thank you. You just have your baby? Oh, beautiful. Oh my goodness.
I wrote this song
Hi, precious.
for trans and queer youth.
Y'all be safe. All right.
Can y'all hear that?
May I see your sign?
They
Okay.
said take that hat off. You can't wear your hair short.
Huh.
You're just a little child. You're too young to know yourself. When you grow up, you want something else. Don't let your thoughts run wild. They told me to stay pretty faced. Don't you change what God creates. You're a Sarah Bell. And don't you pick a new name. That's not what your mama gave. You'll be by yourself. Hold on, I don't belong. I don't belong. I'm so scared and I'm so blue. so tightly. I'll tell them off politely. And the going, it gets more rough the longer I stay true. It's just something people like us get used to. It's just something you're gonna have to get used to. Let me hear you make some noise. They said, come share your story. Come on, say one thing that you wish you knew. All the wisdom from you nowadays, from the marches and the pride parades. But have you seen the news? How did you make it? How'd you stay so patient when the laws attack? What about this legislation? Will my family embrace it? Will they have my back? I will have your back. Hold on, you belong, you belong. I once was scared like you. I held on so tightly, I told them off politely. And the going, it gets easier the longer you push through. It's just something people like us get used to. It's just something you're gonna have to get used to. Hold on, you belong, you belong. I once was scared like you. So hold on so tightly, tell them off politely. And the going, it gets easier the longer you push through. It's just something people like us get used to. It's just something you're gonna have to get used to. It's just something people like us get used to. It's just something you're gonna have to get used to. Hold on, you belong, you belong. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on, you belong, you belong. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on. Thank you so much. My name is Ryan Casada. Keep marching.
That was an amazing tune. My goodness. I have tears in my eyes. That was an amazing tune. Oh my goodness. Wow. I think that spoke to everybody that ever felt like an underdog. Absolutely. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up?
Do you feel like we as a society have let down our youth?
Samir
And
Jah
a
is
lack of
21-year-old
acceptance,
Denver
whether they
student
want
and the
to
founder
feel like a
of the
man or a
Empathy
woman or
Alliance,
just
an
anything,
organization
overweight
dedicated
like
to
I was
making
as a
schools
kid
safer and
or
more
whatever. Do you think
inclusive
that's
for
probably the main
LGBTQ+
problem?
youth. They've been featured
main
in
issue?
media like the New York Times, NPR, Disney
I have
Channel,
kind of a
and Teen
different-
Vogue, as well as the cover of the Advocate magazine.
I think it's a huge
Samir
issue.
has been invited
Yeah.
to the
I'll
White
be
House
honest
twice
with
by
you,
President
the
Biden,
main
and they were
issue that
honored
got
at
me
the United
organizing
Nations
this
in
year
Geneva
is
as a young
laws
activist
that
summit
are
laureate.
putting prison sentences on trans adults.
Prison sentences on trans adults?
Family
Uh-huh.
separations
Everyone.
in Florida.
Okay.
If
I'll
I'm
do
honest
it.
with you, that's what I am the most concerned about.
Okay.
My name
That's
is
not to
Samir
support,
Jah. I
anything
am
that
21
they're
years
doing
old.
to trans youth
I use
either.
they
Right,
pronouns,
right.
But,
and I'm queer.
Not
and
everybody
I'm
in the trans community feels like
I'm
there
the
should be
founder of an organization called the Empathy
transgender
Alliance,
changes
which
in
works
youth.
to make
Not everybody
schools
feels that
safer
way,
and
correct?
more
Yeah.
inclusive
Okay.
for LGBTQ+ youth,
Yeah, I think
like us.
Despite, I mean, yeah,
Unfortunately,
that was if you
this
asked me to
task
peg down the
is
thing I'm
growing
most
more
concerned
difficult
about.
by
But I
the
mean,
day. thanks
Yeah, I don't
to
know.
the
I had it
hundreds
easy kind of
of
because I
laws
didn't really start to
targeting
understand
trans
that I
kids.
was trans until like my last
I
year.
was just
as a
yesterday
teenager,
speaking to
I
a
don't
group
have
of
that experience
educators
of going through
in
school that way.
the
But that being
Bay
said,
Area,
I mean,
in San Francisco Bay Area of California.
it wasn't
and
militant
even
like
they
it
are
is now when I
scared
was going through school
to
either.
speak
I
out,
did like
even though the
meet a
state laws
transgender
protect
person,
them.
for example,
Because
just at like a
the
job
rhetoric
shadowing
that is being
program,
spread
and that was
through
fine.
these laws
That's
is
perfectly
so
fine. That
harmful
was right next door in
that
Virginia,
teachers who
right?
are protected
And these
feel
days,
like
I mean, like
they will get fired
just-
anyway.
We've
That
definitely
parents will
taken the
stop them
fight
anyway.
to kids, to schools.
This is
and,
serious.
like, I say we. I should say they. They have taken.
Today,
The trans community.
is Trans Day of Visibility.
Has-
Some in the
A day
trans
to
community.
celebrate
How's that?
our existence.
I'd say the
But that's
opposition,
difficult
right?
to do
The fascists,
when it feels
if I
like
may,
so
have
many
brought
people
the fight,
are trying
brought
to
kids
erase
into
us
the fight.
or to
And
eradicate us.
that's
You
where
have
the fight-
infiltrators the same as any other movement.
Politicians,
Yeah.
to journalists,
Absolutely.
to media personalities.
So, I mean, I think it's,
to maybe
it's
even
the
friends,
feeling here right now is
family.
peaceful. I grew up in Atlanta,
they're
Georgia,
doing it
and it's
in
a lot of trans, a lot of
scary
cross, a
and
lot of
malicious ways.
gay community,
We've
and
moved past
and
the
right
lack
now
of
it kind of is
understanding
bringing
or
me back
simple
to my youth,
misconception.
you know, which was a
No.
beautiful, wonderful
Now,
thing in the
queer
80s
and
and the
trans
early
youth
90s.
are being
Confusing
intentionally
times as
attacked.
well for everybody, but
They're
you
trying
know,
to
whether
create
you're gay
a
or not,
warped binary
but
definition of
the
sex
feeling is
and pretend
good.
like it's scientifically accurate.
Are you having trouble
it has
hearing?
never been.
I don't
Shout
want
out
to keep
to
you from
all
it
my
either,
intersex
but I
folks out
thank
there.
you for talking with me. Thank you so much. All right.
They're prioritizing an agenda over easily provable facts. They're preventing teachers and medical professionals from doing their jobs. Not only are they pretending that we don't exist or that we're making things up, but they're forcing teachers to do the same. And they're
Can I ask
forcing
you how old
teachers
you are?
to in turn teach these falsehoods to students.
On the same- you're around-
Obviously,
yeah.
this
That's the
manifests
average
in
age so
book
far.
and curriculum bans, which aim to
Thank you.
censor anything that mentions our existence, but it's getting even more dystopian. There's currently an update to the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida that would ban teachers of all grades from using pronouns that don't match a student's sex at birth. That's right. Ban the use of pronouns.
I don't want to take
They
you
want
away
to
from
create
the
a
speaker,
version
but
of
just
English
really
that
quick
conforms
for
to their
kids'
ideals
rights. But are
when
you
no
for
such version of English has
transgendering
ever
while
existed.
under 18?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And what would
They
the
want to
education
teach
be for
a
that
history that has never
transgendering
existed.
youth?
In my South Asian
say that
community,
again?
What would the
for
education
centuries,
be?
we
And
have
is it
had
available
identities
for
beyond the
transgendering
binary.
youth?
I mean, education
And they
is
want to
in
pretend like
being
this
able to be
is
out
not
at
true.
school.
Like there's one
No, being able
version
to
of
understand
society,
if they
and that
decide
we
to
all must conform to it.
trans over in their
Combined
youth
with the
before they're
physical
18.
and mental harm
Is there
of
education
restricting trans
available?
kids'
Yeah, that would be access
gendered
to
facilities and activities,
endocrinologists and
and preventing
healthcare
medical
and
professionals
to
from
therapists
delivering life-saving,
who
gender-affirming
understand
care.
the trans
These
perspective.
efforts are no
and
less
put those
than attempted
decisions
genocide.
to the individual
They want
person,
to eradicate
to
our
the child,
identities,
to make
and they don't
in
care if
concert
that
with their
results
parents.
in our
With
death.
their parents. Excellent.
From
Okay.
suicide
and in the
to
case
hate
that
crimes,
the parents
both of which we are at a
are not
distressingly
supportive,
higher risk for.
we need to provide
But
services
here's the thing.
for kids to get support.
All of this
because
is
it's
actually
it's,
highlighting our
it's going to
visibility.
kill them.
Support,
You see,
definitely.
visibility
Yeah,
is
I think
a
we all agree on the
double-edged
support for sure. Yeah,
Don't get me wrong.
like that we all
These
need to have more
attacks are
support.
horrible.
His song was amazing,
But
and I
what the
mean, I think it
constant
touched on
attacks
every
on
single
community show
person
us
that's ever felt
is
like
that
an
we cannot be
underdog in their
ignored
life. You know,
anymore.
no matter what your upbringing is, how you feel you are, whatever. But
Enemy number
you know, I think
one
his song
for a
just
certain
touched on
political
everybody.
party
But
means that they cannot just
as
pretend
a
that we
grandmother,
don't exist anymore.
would you
They have
have
to
your
actively
child go
try
through the
to
actual
erase us.
physical transition?
But they will
My
fail.
son transitioned as a young teenager.
Okay.
Too
Okay, and are they
many
still
of us
are they still happy with their decision?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's nice to hear.
Saved his life.
thriving
Okay.
and loud.
Yeah.
Let me hear you be
Saved his
loud.
life. I have a son because
And
I lived in a
that's what I
liberal,
want
supportive
trans youth to
state
know right
where
now.
he had access
Because
to
it's
health
so
care.
scary to glance at the
And
What
he-
state is that?
Maryland.
Maryland,
or
okay.
two
Yeah.
I'm
or
in Maryland
10
too.
new bills per
Okay,
day.
and so
that are
you all went
causing
through that
actual
together. I'm
harm
sure it
to
was
you
very
and to your
trying.
team.
Together, and this was
It can feel like
before
there's
there
no
was
one
a
in
whole
your
lot
corner.
of awareness.
I know I felt
You
like
know,
that.
and I
But
knew
behind
something
each
was
of those
wrong.
bills is a coalition
But we
of
were
people
lucky. We were
working
lucky
to strike them
because
down.
trans people were starting
I'm looking
to
at
become more
today, and
visible.
I really want to thank Queer Youth
Did the
Assemble
doctors?
and all of
And you don't have to answer this, but I'm trying to find out more. And I've got people who want to know more. Did you find out? Was there a little bit more of a hormonal imbalance leaning towards the sex that he wanted to be, or he or she. I don't know if he's a he or she now. That's not clear to me. But was there, when they ran tests before transitioning, was there more estrogen or more testosterone than average?
That's not how it works.
No.
LGBT
Okay, so
Can you tell me which organization you're
I'm actually on Glory Be Freedom. I'm independent media, and I just want to know more about it. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I grew up in the 80s. And it's a very, there's a lot of gays in Atlanta, and I hung out with everybody. And, you know, in downtown Atlanta, you can't have a club opening without having Cross as the host or, you know, hostesses. And so it's like, it's not an unfamiliar community to me. And there's so much controversy right now over the transgendering of youth that people are alarmed that it's being pushed on the children. And so I just want to kind of come out here and just get the general feeling from the transgender community itself and those who are living in it and supporting it on a daily basis, because it's been a long time since I've been immersed in that, you know? So that's why I'm here. So I just wanted to just find out more information about what does everybody want, you know. Do you mind saying how old your child was when they transed over?
Thank you so much.
They came out around the age of 12.
Okay.
So it was a little later than with some kids.
Okay.
And we, you know, we followed the advice of his doctors, his therapists. He had multiple doctors.
He's passionate about intersex community building and facilitates intersex
the pace of transition was up to him completely.
Currently, his activist work focuses on anti-carceral
there's
mental
no,
health advocacy,
people talk about
radical peer
an
support
agenda.
for sex
There's no
survivors,
agenda.
and harm
It's the
reduction.
individual.
In his free time,
Right.
Elliot
And each
loves
person
ball
is
and dancing
different.
and making
Yeah.
art.
Well, I can definitely agree with that. Absolutely.
Hi everyone, my name is Elliot. I use he, him pronouns. I'm 21 and I live here in DC. I'm trying to make sure my voice doesn't give out, but we'll see if I can get through this.
Did you have dead peers when you were a teenager?
I came out as a transgender man when I was 14, and I was diagnosed with a
But I'm a recovery coach, so I deal with a lot of death, you know, but it started as a young teen. Yeah.
LGBTQIA, and is an umbrella term that describes
Well, there's a lot of
various
mortality
sex
for
characteristics that
suicide.
exist outside of the typical biological sex binary.
community.
This includes
Right.
variations of hormones, chromosomes, genitalia, or internal
like
organs.
threatening.
It
Yes.
can be diagnosed at birth or later
It
in life.
is. It absolutely is.
In many
It
ways,
is.
my
Do you
teenage
both
years were
feel like
shaped by
there's
the violence
that
and
there
discrimination
should
I
be
experienced.
regulation though, as
At
far as
home,
like
at
maybe
school, from cops,
we
from
need
doctors.
more education, but how
From the time of
long
my
maybe somebody
diagnosis
should go
onwards,
through
I
the
was forced to
therapy
interact
and
with transphobic,
just the
interphobic
focus on
medical
their
system that was
If
more
you're going
focused on
to
conforming to a
put in
binary understanding of
regulations
sex
for
than it was
every
on
single
supporting
kind of
my
medical
choices
care.
about what I wanted my life to look
Then
like.
okay, you can treat this like
and it should
Despite
come from
the
the
fact that
state.
I
I
was
think
living
if there's going to be any
transgender
regulation,
life,
it shouldn't be
my
from the
doctors
federal
forced me to
government.
take
We probably all
estrogen
agree on
based
that,
on
right?
Some of them openly expressing
not
that they thought about
necessarily, because
fixing
that
it
would
and turning
protect the
sick.
people in states where people are being erased.
I don't have the
Interesting.
words to express the type of pain that brought me. As a trans youth who was already dealing with trauma, having to take estrogen every day only made me feel more hopeless and like I could never be happy. And yet, that type of despair is exactly what conservative legislators want trans and intersex people like me to feel every day. 82 out of the 120 bills targeting gender-affirming care this year also have specific provisions that
Right,
promote
right.
non-consensual
We're all
surgery,
seeing that kind of craziness. Yeah.
despite the fact that non-consensual intersex surgery is recognized as a human rights abuse by the United
Yeah.
Nations.
It's very
Yeah. So I would say you guys aren't really that happy with this current administration.
Violence and coercion that intersex youth are already experiencing.
That's a very
on
blanket
regular
statement,
basis,
maybe
and
not
take a
easy to
step
answer.
further by encoding these practices into law. Their hypocrisy is clear. The same
Thank
bills
you all
that
so
prevent
much
trans
for
kids
talking to
from
me. Thank
accessing
you.
Life-saving care also force unwanted, normalizing care on intersex kids. Conservatives have never cared about protecting kids. They're invested in denying our bodily autonomy and our fundamental rights as trans and intersex people to make our decisions about our bodies, our hormones, our futures. They are so threatened by the idea that we could live happily and authentically outside their strict sex binary and rigid gender norms that they are legislating violence. Trans and intersex oppression have always been tied together, and at the same time, our communities have always shown up for each other in solidarity. Look back to 1996, the first protest for intersex rights in North America. Allies from Transsexual Menace were there to advocate with us. Our liberation has always been intertwined, and in the coming months and years,
That's
we
the
need to
average
build
age.
up our
Would you mind
community's capacity
answering
to
a quick
care
question?
for
I don't want to take you away from the speaker
now
if you don't
more
want
than
to.
ever.
Okay, just this is Glory Be Freedom. I'm an independent media,
I know
and
for a fact
we're just
that
trying
trans
to
and
get the
intersex
perspective
communities saved
from the
my
trans
life.
community
Being able to talk
about
to other
really
intersex
about
people who
the
intimately
youth.
understood what
And
it's like to survive
how
medical
young is
violence,
too young,
who
and
still showed me
do
a
we
path
all feel
forward
like
where
there
I could
needs to be
proud
at least a
and
time
love,
period
happy.
for
That
the
transformed my
therapy
life.
and the different
I
doctor's
still remember
appointments
the
and the
first time I saw a
education
photo of an
of a
intersex
youth
activist
before they
wearing
go
these
into
t-shirts that
transition?
said, "Intersex is
How do you
beautiful."
feel about that?
And how in that moment, for the first time, I saw a future where I could feel at home in my own body. So, for every intersex and trans kid out here today, this is what I want to say. Intersex is beautiful. Trans is beautiful. Our futures are filled with moments of joy that we can't even imagine yet, despite how hard it might be right now. And
So
our
you're
futures are
saying
worth
let's bring it
fighting
back to the
for.
families.
We are allowed
Let's
to
take
be
it. Let's
angry
take
in the face
healthcare
of
basically
overwhelming
out of our
pressure, but it feels
government's
like
hands and
every
put it
day
back in
we
the
turn on
families.
news and see
That's
some
kind of
new
what I
horrible
got.
piece of transphobia. Our rage is a powerful act of love towards our communities, where our solidarity makes us stronger.
And we need to be following their guidance. And
Our fight for autonomy and for survival is so important, and we will not stop until we achieve liberation. Thank you.
And healthcare. And healthcare. Okay.
the healthcare that helps people to survive and thrive.
Okay.
Next to speak is Kelly Robinson, president of the Human Rights Campaign. And
Okay.
Human Rights Campaign
All right. Thank you
Foundation.
so much.
Kelly is not
Okay,
only
enjoy.
the first Black queer woman to lead Human Rights Campaign, but an organizer, leader, and force for change at the forefront in the fight for bodily autonomy and racial and gender equity.
Okay, y'all, give some love for Queer Youth Assemble. Yeah! Come on now, Leah and Faith, y'all
Gender and race.
dance
They're for gender and
back.
racial
All right, so
equality.
put some visibility on today, okay?
I'd say that's
That means
most
we
all of
gotta
us.
hear you. When trans rights are under attack, what do we do? When trans rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. Y'all got better than that. When trans rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? What do we do? Y'all, that's what I'm talking about. Kevin McCarthy better hear who's out here today.
You okay? Are you okay? Yeah. What you got?
We're out here today. Because anywhere our people are, we are going to fight like hell
Politics
for our
off
home,
children.
our
Okay.
families, our kids,
Thank you.
and our trans
May I ask you how old you are?
I'm 20.
20? Okay, that's average. Most everyone here is around
Human Rights
20,
Campaign.
22.
I use she, her pronouns.
That I asked
I'm proud to
anyway.
stand
That's
with our
great.
trans
Thank you.
community. I'm proud to stand with Black trans women. I'm proud to stand with all of us, because when one of us is under attack, all of us is under attack. Okay, but I'm only going to talk for a minute, because if it rains, there are some of us that can't withstand that on our hair, okay?
This is a new festival thing. All the hula hoops.
But when I was coming up in activism, they said if you care about something, you got to give of your time, your talent, your treasure, and also give your
Oh,
testimony.
you're good at that. I've never been able to do that.
Today, okay?
That's awesome. I started trying probably 15 years ago. I'm still gonna try. I'm like more of an apple than than hips.
It doesn't even matter. It's so if you get the right pull,
Yeah.
then I've seen people of all sizes.
Isn't that great? Oh my gosh. I even tried to make one. It didn't work. I don't know. I got all the parts, like from the, Home Depot and everything. I mean, I followed the directions. It might have been your tutorial. I don't know. It was on YouTube. Right? Well, you should do one.
People wanted to
You
kill
should.
trans
Hi,
people.
how are you,
And
Nadine?
less than trans people have the nerve to show up here. Y'all have the nerve to show up here. You and
Because
your
I love
You
people.
and your people are responsible.
You don't
for
know
these
anything
people being
about me,
traumatized.
Nadine.
Why the fuck are you here? Why
Because-
the fuck are you here?
because don't
Why
you
the fuck
want
are you
all
here?
sides to
Why
be
the fuck are you
heard?
here? You're
Because
responsible.
everybody
You and your
deserves to
people
know
are
what's
responsible for these
happening.
people being traumatized.
That is so not true. Oh my goodness. Hi. That's so sad. That is so sad. Okay, goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Because when one
Thank you. God bless you. They follow me around. Well, they think I live stream with a group every night down at the DC jail. And it's not about innocence or not for what happened January 6th. It's about equal rights for all, which is what I'm seeing on all the signs here. So they don't know anything about me and they hate me, and it's so sad, but I pray for them all the time. I do. I know. It's just, I love hula hoops. Oh my gosh. Really great to see you. Thank you so much. God bless you. Take care. Have a good rest of your rally. Hope to see you again. You can teach me how. Thank you.
Let's fight together. Let's win and let's get free.
You don't know me. You don't know my politics. You don't know anything about me. Goodbye. No, actually, I will tell you, it's equal justice for all, which is what I see on all the signs here. I am for equal justice for all. That is why I am here. God bless you. I'm going to pray for you. Yeah, that's what you think. He said he didn't need the prayers. Nadine thought I had a lot of nerve being here. Oh no, that's so sad.
You see in the mirror every day. We cannot do this work without you. So I have a message. What we know for sure is y'all, these folks are coming for us. I want you to look across this way.
Thank you, Third. That was very interesting. The feeling was very peaceful until the end there, and I was choked up. I had tears because I was an underdog growing up, you know. And not trans or gay or, you know, lesbian or anything like that, but I always felt like I was on the outside looking in. And that's what these people are fighting for, is not to be overlooked, not to be looked through, to have equal rights. And then I loved what that one man said about their groups have been infiltrated by fascists as well. And he was kind of leaning towards the fact that the fascists were the ones that were kind of pushing more of the agenda for transgendering youth. And so it was very interesting to talk to them. Very, very interesting. Thank you, Deborah. And that's why I'm there. You know, they don't know how I used to run in Atlanta and all that. You all know a lot more about that now, you know, because I don't mind sharing it with you and on the live stream. It's part of my, let me see if I can cross with these people. But that, with Nadine coming up like that, I mean, that just lets you know, if we don't all have conversations, then we don't know where people are coming from. And Nadine refuses to have a conversation. So she has me pegged as something that I absolutely am not. And that's sad to me. It was very peaceful, Third. These are people that have been bullied and criticized and ignored, not picked for sports, you know, things like that. And that's the way it was for me because I was an overweight kid. So I think there's a lot of people that can relate to that. Maybe not, you know, the cross-dressing and things like that, but there sure are a lot of men and women that like to cross-dress on Halloween and thinks it's a lot of fun. Isn't that true? I think the most thing that we hear is that people want to be treated fairly. That's the consistent theme, y'all. And that's why I went there. Because these people are not my enemies. None of these people are my enemies. They're my brothers and sisters on this earth, you know? I was sorry to see that some people decided to leave, but that was their right. Absolutely. Maybe they'll watch it later and just realize that, you know, we're all down here having this human experience, and it's confusing sometimes. I pray for the children for sure. I do believe that myself, since, you know, we're on it, I believe that somebody needs to be an adult of voting age to be able to make the decision for themselves whether to transgender over with a fully developed cranium. That's how I feel, definitely. So, I feel for people, because I've known friends, I've had friends and that felt trapped in the wrong body, and my heart goes out to them, to anyone who feels that way. Right. It's not to leave the kids out of it, because it is. I totally understand where they're coming from. Oh my gosh, my hair is stuck in my backpack. Ow. I'm sitting here on this sidewalk. I got it. Goodness gracious, this is some mop I've got. Boy, his song was absolutely beautiful. Had me in tears. Oh my goodness. Because they, you know, we know that the child suicide, that there are very high rates for it. And, I mean, how confusing is puberty anyway? So it's not like leave the kids out of it, but there needs to be, in my opinion, a whole lot of education and time for that. And, I don't know. What is a parent supposed to do, though, I guess, when their child is suicidal? And I felt for that woman. You know, when she said how hard it was for her and her son, who transgendered over. My heart, I felt for her. It must have been craziness going through that with in their household. All right, hang on. I've got to put this in the window. Life is not easy, that's for sure. But then also, I want you all to know this too, is that I personally don't believe in changing the sex that you were born with. I personally do not believe in it. But if somebody is so dead set on it, I would prefer to have them be an adult and have had a whole lot of time in therapy and education, you know, and focus on being okay with who you are, and try every avenue, not just science and doctors and therapists, but how about church as well, you know? Oh, Southern boy, that's so heartbreaking. Hey, Big D, thank you. What are you doing? I've got this dude coming over and taking my picture. Hi. Dude, what are you gonna do with my plates? What are you gonna do with my plates? He called me a transphobe. You're a little liar. I'm not a transphobe. Goodbye. That kid looked like he was 17, maybe 16, 17 years old. Oh no. They're training him to be a agitator. I'm at a transgendered rally, talking to people, asking questions, enjoying their music, and I'm a transphobic. How do you get from there to there? That's crazy. Oh, that's so sad. Some people just want to be haters. He's a confused youth is what he is. Okay, who's so mean, Nina? That was not a representative for the trans community. That was one kid. Right? So who are you talking about? Because that one kid, trust me, does not represent that entire group I just walked through. Oh my gosh. Third, are you in a position to get rid of that Chrissy? Because I don't like anybody talking about somebody's church or synagogue or like that. That's to me is so rude. Chrissy's out of here. Actually, I might be able to do it here. I'm going to stop. Chrissy, that was very rude. Goodbye. Boy, I would have liked to have stayed and learned how to hula hoop too. Nina, I just wanted to make sure I got some clarity from you. I love you. Just, you know, that one guy had a little guy had an opinion. I had nice conversations with all kinds of people in there. Interesting. Huh? Oh, there's some beautiful tulips over here on the corner. Oh my gosh. Well, Big D, I mean, that's how I feel now. But I also, one of the most difficult things for me to wrap my head around was, and I still have trouble with it, was reading in the Bible about my gay friends, and that it's so wrong, because I know some of them felt like they were born in the wrong body, you know, and it wreaked havoc on their life. Absolutely. They were suicide survivors. They just had gone through hell before they finally came out of the closet. And so it's just, to me, it's a conversation worth having. Because we have a very large community of all these alphabet letters, you know, and if we don't have conversations, we wind up with groups like Nadine's group, where they just don't care to hear where you're coming from. They don't care to know your politics. They don't care to know where you stand on the points that are important to them, you know, that they feel are so important, you know. But quite frankly, I really don't know what Nadine feels is important or not, or her group. I just think they're angry and paid to be angry. That's what I feel. No, I don't care for changing DNA. I don't at all. I personally have learned that it's best for me not to mess with what God has created. But that's my personal opinion. You know, not everybody believes in God. Not everybody believes in heaven or eternal life with Jesus. You know, it's my hope that everybody will turn to Jesus and be saved and have eternal life and love and hope and light, you know, or the hope of love and light for all eternity. Because I think the one thing that every single person here in this world can have in common is the need for love. Even though some people say they don't need it and they don't care what other people think, etc. That's not true. I've never met anybody that we all have a common need for love and acceptance. So I would want that for them. But if they don't want God, then they won't get God, you know? And that's their right. That's he gave us the right to choose, didn't he? I personally don't feel like I have to hate them because they're not choosing God. There are some guidelines, you know, for me to be safe, you know, that the Bible spells out for sure. But I don't have to hate them. And I haven't read that I'm supposed to hate them either. Well, maybe this one part, but I have to go back and read it. And it's not, it's very specific though about what is hated. Actually, it's God. He's got a whole list of what, 7 things that he hates or more? Diana, who are you talking about? Who's the real monster here? Diane is very angry. Oh my gosh, Archangel, isn't that the truth? I got picked on so bad as a kid. That's why I really don't appreciate, you know, Nadine and her group. You know, I've had enough of bullies in my life. I don't need them bullying me in my adulthood. I really don't. At this later date, you know, nobody likes a bully except the bully. That's why his song was so beautiful. Gosh, I've forgotten his name. I want to say it was like Jeremiah or something. Up on the stage just now. Go back and listen to it. It's a beautiful, it's on acoustic guitar, and it was the lyrics are just beautiful because they speak to everybody who's ever been bullied and not accepted and felt like they were alone. It was a great song. I don't know if those agitators, you know, the fascists, whatever you want to call them, if they actually watched my live stream and listened to anything that I actually said, they could never accuse me of what they're accusing me of. So they're accusing me probably because they're getting paid. They're getting paid to accuse me. Because only assholes don't like me. I'm very likable. Neural development. It's not in psychology, it's hardware. Oh, that's interesting, Martin. Right, well that's, yeah. If you try to alter the brain, you get a totally different person. I'm with you on that. That seems logical to me. This is the way God made it. See, and that's one of the things that makes it so confusing for me, because God made them too, and if God made them to where they're so confused, you know, if it comes after trauma, like molestation or rape or something like that, then maybe that's different. Now they've started thinking that they're bad, they're wrong, they're this, they're that, you know, the psychology behind that. But if a person literally has had a pretty neutral environment growing up and they still feel like they're in the wrong body, then is that God's creation? Did he create that? Or did we miss something? Was a seed planted somewhere where you weren't observing and seeing it happen? You know, so I don't know. It is a very complex issue and a complex subject. You know, you don't necessarily have to call it issue, but a complex subject. There's so many things to consider. But I know this, I do know this, that God loves his children. And he knows that we get all confused and we get, you know, that things hurt and life is hard, and you know, I'm glad I went. I am glad I went. Absolutely. And this is what I tell Nadine and all of her friends is I belong everywhere I am. Everywhere I go, where I'm at, I belong. Nobody's going to tell me any different. I'm a human being having a human experience on this earth, same as you, and I belong everywhere I go. Mrs. James, moms, yeah, that's always a good point. Letting go and letting God and minding your own business, right? It is. But, you know, everybody has so many strong opinions about this that I felt like I wanted to cover it. I really did. And I'm glad I did. Not at all CNA Productions. Not at all. I was very comfortable. I was there with men and women and whatever they want to call themselves at the time. I was there with human beings. Let's just make it simple. I was there with my fellow human beings. Just like I am when I'm at the J6 vigil at night, I'm with my fellow human beings. I'm driving down the road with my fellow human beings. When you party like I did in my youth, go ahead. When he was walking pretty fast. When you party like I did in my youth, you wind up going to a lot of nightclubs and bars and things like that. In Atlanta, Georgia is where I grew up. So, you know, we had no boundaries. We went to whatever club we felt like going to. And I had friends at all of them. And that included the gay bars, the trans bars, I had a lot of transvestite friends. I don't know if that's politically correct to say anymore, transvestite, but I believe that's what trans is short for. No. There's transgender, there's transvestite. Transvestite doesn't always mean transgender. It could just mean cross-dressing too. Yeah, and I had a lot of fun. I had a whole lot of fun. I've always enjoyed having friends of all types. You know? Eclectic characters, interesting intellects, gay, lesbian, whatever, white, black, Asian, Spanish, however you call yourself, I see a human being. Thanks, Linda. Thank you. That's beautiful. I wanted to go. I just wanted to, you know, get a few perspectives, you know, how are they feeling about things? Well, they don't particularly like, you know, the government hand on their health care, and I would say that most of us feel the same way. You know, when you step out, you find out, oh my gosh, I'm not so different in some things. No, I still don't want it shoved on. I don't want it shoved on people. If somebody comes to their parents and says, this is how I feel, that's one thing. But I don't want anybody shoving it on a child that this is how you should feel. You know, that's like the education system where it went wrong. They used to teach you all kinds of different things, and you could form your own opinion. Now they teach you this is what your opinion should be. And I feel like that's wrong. I don't think you could make somebody gay, Maggie, but I have seen a lot of youth that has been influenced to be with same sex. There's been a lot of pressure on our youth for a very long time, and to be in same-sex relationships, to experiment, to have multiple partners at once, to, you know, this is, I mean, I work with this all the time in the field that I've been in as a recovery coach, because let me tell you, I've had 14-year-old young woman that I sponsored years ago, and that was probably the hardest case ever, because that girl earned her seat in the 12-step recovery rooms. I was not a recovery coach yet. This was way before that, but she had earned her seat in those recovery rooms, and it was tough trying to help her, because it was kind of hard, even me, who's been through a lot in my life, to hear this youth and everything she had gone through already, and continued to seek out. You know, it was tough. So what is BS, Maggie? You know, you said you can't make somebody gay. I don't think you can make them gay. But I do believe that society and people can have influence on people to behave in ways that they might not naturally if you just left them alone. There we go. I said it simply that way. Try to say it as simple as I can. Because this man came down with a big, huge trailer, and then he stirred up all kinds of trouble, and he's been coming out like every night, and he's very spooky, and so they just nipped it in the bud and said nobody can park down there. It's kind of a pain in the neck, but I don't really blame them. I gotta go. Oh, I guess I could have walked. Maybe I'll park over here. Yeah. Let's go around the block again. Trans lifestyle, but I would never disrespect them. Hate the sin, not the sinner. Exactly, Nina. Oh my gosh, exactly. Hate the sin and not the sinner. Yes, he is very angry. He's got a darkness to him, doesn't he, Third? It's like, I just want to stay away from him. He certainly showed us where you know, what he's all about, where he's at. I'll tell you what, Nadine and her group, they're very territorial. They don't think that the United States Capitol belongs to all the people. They think that area is their territory. They don't like anybody coming around that they don't want there. It's very curious. But they don't stop. But they don't mess with the tourists. So I don't really get it. You think they would resent the tourists just as much. Look at that little kid. He's like, I got your license plate. Go home. Like, I guess he's having fun, whatever. CNA Productions, you know, I used to wonder that myself, and I wound up, I've been on this spiritual walk learning. When I got saved 15 years ago, it was very unexpected. I knew who was reaching out to me, and I actually reached back, you know, and then I needed to learn who Jesus is. So it's been a learning process. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I can tell you this: when I read in the Bible those places where I've had these questions for so long, and it'll say things, and I'm not quoting. I don't want to say that I'm quoting anything. It'll say things like, I will allow you to suffer for a time and a space before I intervene on your behalf. And I suffered a lot in my youth, and a lot through my addictions, and it was just like, I thought God was angry with me, because I knew I wasn't living right, and I needed help to be able to change it, and I just didn't know what yet, and so I suffered a lot. And then when I read that he would allow us to suffer for a time and a space before intervening on our behalf, and then I saw how he used all of the tragedies and everything that I had experienced over my entire life to help others through me. When I'm going and helping other people that have been through the same things, there is a comfort between human beings, knowing that we're not alone in our experiences, and that somebody else has been able to work through just as awful of an experience as that person has had, that has experienced, and so I saw how God had allowed everything that I had gone through to later wind up helping people, and all of my tragedies became a gift, and that is very true. And I don't say that lightly. Every single one of my tragedies that I've lived through has become a gift when I'm able to help somebody else know that they are not alone, and that somebody else understands, and that there is a path through it. Got a divine mission, and it's going to be fun. All right, Harmony Love. Prayers. Hey, Partai Banza. Long time no see. God is allowing it if it happens. Well, but don't forget that if you believe in God and Jesus, and you believe also that Satan is here, a fallen angel, and that this is his territory, that he's wreaking havoc on everybody on. So it's God is allowing his reign for a time. His reign on earth for a time. But for those who seek God, he intervenes on our behalf. And he's proven that to me time and time again. Absolutely. And I'm not shoving it down anyone's throat. I don't want to beat anyone over the head with a Bible or anything like that. I'm still just in awe over seeing how God works in my life. And looking back and seeing where he pulled me out of some ditches too. I know. I really wish Eve hadn't eaten that apple or that fruit. When I suffer, don't think that doesn't go through my mind, I really wish she had left us alone with God in the Garden of Eden. That would have been nice. Just leave it alone. It was really good. Being in the Garden of Eden, I would imagine. But God in his mercy has given us a way back to that with him. And I'm so grateful. Oh, Docs and Grandma, you know it. I've seen the devil. I've seen a person's eyes turn black and their hair puff up like a cat, and they were no longer them. They were no longer them. And I've seen it twice. 2 different people. Once on a man and once on a woman. And it was like, oh, no. No. The first time, and you're almost curious because you're like, what in the world is happening when you should be running? At least that was my case, and the second time I was like, how dare you come into my house? And I had to get that woman out of my house, which was really sad, but it was the only way to get him out of my house. the devil out of my house. It was really scary. Brenda, I love that. If you don't start cussing behind mama's back, you won't accidentally slip in front of her. Exactly. That's why I try not to curse, because I don't want to slip in the wrong place. You know I'm not perfect. Oh my God. There isn't anything I do that's perfect. Partai Banza, black me. AP's voice when she is screaming, she really sounds like a demon. Oh my gosh. I pray for her though. I pray for everyone, because I really feel like they've been preyed upon at some point. You know? To be in the position of and also too, our society as a whole owes this next generation's a huge apology, because we've allowed them to be spoon-fed Wicca and witchcraft and darkness and vampires and, you know, all of the darkness that has absolutely been taking over the media. You guys, we have sat back and allowed it. And so if these next generations are thinking that witches are better than God, who is to blame? It's all of us. I'm taking some blame for that. You know, we've let them down. We've known the media coming at our youth from every direction, spoon feeding them all kinds of stuff, has led to a lot of misery. And it even did it to me in my youth, but it's only gotten worse, and we've known it and we haven't done anything about it. Right? I've had some friends that were Wicca, you know, and I don't agree with it. I don't. And they tried to tell me that it was basically like the oldest religion. It was like, you know, worshiping Mother Earth. The oldest religion known to mankind was a stone statue of a very round woman with long hair, and you know, they tried to convince me that it was really more of like that. And pagan is pagan, and so, but if that's what they want to do, go ahead. Like I said, not everybody wants to have eternity with God, and that's okay. They're not going to get it unless they turn to Him and come to believe that Jesus Christ did die on the cross to save us from our sins and to heal us and make us whole again. Unless somebody experiences it, I mean, I guess it is hard to believe, but I'm just grateful that he reached out to me that day. And I get giddy when I think about, what if I hadn't reached back that day? I know Jesus enough now that He would have tried again. Absolutely. Yeah, being awake, we see a lot. Absolutely. But again, I don't hate them. Absolutely not. I don't care for how they behave. I don't care for them yelling and screaming and hurting my ears with their whistles. Yep, no idols before me. And then when you find out what idols are, that it can be all kinds of things, like worshiping a band. You know, I had a friend who U2, the band U2 helped her get through the loss of her father, and that's idolization, and not because you're just like idolizing a band, but that's actually idolatry. Which, you know, when I realized that later, I was like, oh my goodness, this is like runs deep. Oh, interesting, Harmony Love. Well, I'm glad you're not suffering anymore. Team waffle cone. Well, now I want some ice cream. I haven't had a waffle cone in ages. Oh my goodness. Hey, I've got to get in here before 6. You guys, I'm going to end this stream, and then I'm going to, saw she was live and clickbait title got me. I confess I love me some ice cream. Woman girl, me too. Oh goodness. Now we're both craving ice cream. Oh, here comes the Ant-Man. Well, at least he's consistent. You can always find something to like about people, you know? Well, he certainly is taking his desire to disrupt very seriously. You guys, I'm hopping off here. I love you all. Please come back, and we're gonna have an amazing vigil tonight, and pray for Ant-Man to be saved. He's a human being too. CNA Productions. Well, if I could drink, I'd say have a drink for me, but I don't drink anymore. It's probably best that I don't. No, I know it's best. Anyway, more power to you. Glad you can. So, Ridgeline, what's up, honey? I thought I saw you in there. Oh my gosh, I love y'all. I've got to go tinkle before it's too late. I'll see you in just a little bit. Thank you, Tammy Zulu. Thank you. Y'all remember, it's better to have conversations than arguments. But unfortunately, it's not always easy. So, God bless you all. Glory be to God, and I'll see you in a little bit.